The sandwich was nothing special, just peanut butter and jelly on wheat bread, cut diagonally the way his daughter liked it. But when Jake Reynolds offered half to the disheveled young woman on the park bench that rainy Tuesday afternoon, he had no idea how that simple act of kindness would change both their lives forever. Sometimes the smallest gestures create the biggest ripples, and this story might just make you believe in the power of human connection again. If you're touched by what you're about to hear, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to our channel for more stories that remind us of our shared humanity. Jake Reynolds checked his watch and sighed. He had exactly 47 minutes before he needed to pick up his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, from her after-school program. Just enough time to eat his lunch and review the proposal he'd been working on for weeks. The promotion at Wellington Marketing would mean everything: better hours, better pay, and most importantly, more time with Lily. The park bench was damp from the morning's drizzle, but it was the closest spot to his office where he could find a moment's peace. Jake spread his jacket on the bench before sitting down, balancing his worn leather briefcase on his knees as he retrieved his simple lunch. He was about to take his first bite when he noticed her. A young woman, maybe in her mid-20s, sitting on a bench about 20 feet away. She wore jeans with artistic tears that Jake couldn't tell were designer or just worn, and an oversized gray hoodie that seemed to swallow her small frame. Her dark hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail, and she was staring intently at a sketchbook, occasionally looking up at the city skyline visible through the trees. What caught Jake's attention wasn't her appearance, but the sound, a distinct, unmistakable rumble of a hungry stomach, followed by the woman pressing her hand against her midsection with a grimace. Jake hesitated. At 34, he'd learned to mind his own business in the city. But something about her reminded him of his late wife, Emma, perhaps the focused expression, or the way she tucked her hair behind her ear as she worked. Before he could overthink it, Jake stood up and walked over. "Excuse me," he said, his voice gentle. "I couldn't help but notice, would you like half of my sandwich? It's just peanut butter and jelly, but it's fresh." The woman looked up, startled. Her eyes were a striking amber color, rimmed with fatigue but bright with intelligence. For a moment, she seemed ready to decline, but then her stomach growled again, more insistently this time. "I'm hungry," she said simply, with a small, embarrassed smile. "That's very kind of you." Jake handed her half of his sandwich, wrapped in a paper napkin. "I'm Jake, by the way." "Eliza," she replied, accepting the offering. "Eliza Smith." The slight pause before her surname didn't register with Jake at the time. He was too busy noticing how carefully she held the sandwich, as if it were something precious. "Mind if I sit?" he asked, gesturing to the empty space beside her. Eliza hesitated, then nodded, closing her sketchbook. "Sure." They ate in companionable silence for a few minutes, watching people hurry by on the park paths. Jake couldn't help but notice that Eliza ate slowly, savoring each bite as if it were her last meal. "Are you an artist?" he finally asked, nodding toward her sketchbook. A shadow crossed her face. "Trying to be. I'm taking some time to figure things out." Jake nodded. "I understand that. Life has a way of throwing curveballs." "What about you?" she asked, clearly wanting to change the subject. "What do you do when you're not sharing sandwiches with strangers?" "Marketing executive by day, superhero dad by night," Jake said with a small smile. "My daughter, Lily, is 8. She's the reason I get up in the morning." "Just the two of you?" Eliza asked, then immediately looked regretful. "I'm sorry, that's personal." "It's okay," Jake said. "Yes, just us. My wife, Emma, passed away 3 years ago. Cancer." Eliza's expression softened. "I'm so sorry." Jake nodded his acknowledgement. Every day is a new adventure in single parenting. Today's challenge is finishing this proposal while also making it to her school talent show by 6. She's performing Let It Go for the 4th time this year. Eliza laughed, a genuine sound that transformed her face. Sounds like you need a clone. Or just a promotion, Jake admitted. Which is what this proposal is for. He patted his briefcase. If I land this account, I get better hours, better pay, a better life for Lily. Can I see? Eliza asked, then backtracked. Sorry, professional curiosity. I used to. I have some experience in marketing. Jake hesitated only briefly before opening his briefcase. Sure, why not? Fresh eyes might help. He handed her the folder containing his proposal for Meridian Hotels, a mid-sized luxury hotel chain looking to rebrand their image to attract younger travelers. Eliza read through it with surprising speed, her brow furrowed in concentration. This is good, she said after a few minutes. Really good, actually. But? Jake prompted. Your demographic analysis is solid, but I think you're missing something about the luxury travel market for millennials. She flipped to a specific page. See here? They don't just want experiences, they want meaningful experiences they can share. The social currency aspect is underemphasized. Jake stared at her, impressed. That's, actually a really good point. How do you know so much about this? Eliza handed the folder back, suddenly looking uncomfortable. Just something I picked up. I should go, thanks for the sandwich. She stood abruptly, gathering her sketchbook and pencils. Wait, Jake said, standing too. I didn't mean to pry. It's just that you clearly know what you're talking about, and I could really use some help with this. Maybe we could grab coffee sometime? My treat, to thank you properly for the feedback. Eliza paused, seeming to wage an internal battle. Finally, she pulled out a scrap of paper and scribbled something on it. My number, she said, handing it to him. If you want to talk more about the proposal, you can call me. No pressure. Before Jake could respond, she was walking away, her hoodie pulled up against the light drizzle that had started to fall again. Jake looked down at the paper in his hand. The handwriting was elegant, with a distinctive flourish to the Z in Eliza. He carefully tucked it into his wallet, wondering about the mysterious woman who knew so much about luxury marketing and seemed so grateful for half a peanut butter sandwich. Little did he know that the number he now possessed was one that many powerful business executives would pay a fortune to have, the personal cell phone of Elizabeth Sinclair Montgomery, the reclusive daughter of billionaire hotel magnate Richard Montgomery, who had disappeared from public view 6 months ago after a very public falling out with her father over the future of Montgomery International Hotels. Jake didn't call Eliza that evening. He was too busy helping Lily perfect her Let It Go performance, making dinner, supervising homework, and finally tucking her into bed with a story about a brave princess who could talk to animals, Lily's current favorite fantasy. It wasn't until the next night, after Lily had gone to bed, that Jake found himself staring at the phone number. On impulse, he sent a text. Hi Eliza, it's Jake from the park. Just wanted to say thanks again for the feedback on my proposal. I incorporated your suggestions and submitted it today. My boss was impressed. Coffee offer still stands if you're interested. He didn't expect a response, at least not a quick one. So he was surprised when his phone buzzed almost immediately. Glad to hear it went well. Coffee sounds nice. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. at Groundwork Café on 5th? Jake smiled. Perfect. See you then. The next day, Jake found himself unusually nervous as he approached the cafe. He'd told himself this wasn't a date, just a thank you coffee with someone who'd given him helpful professional advice. But he still found himself checking his reflection in the cafe window before entering. Eliza was already there, sitting at a corner table with 2 coffees. She looked different today, still casual in jeans and a simple blue sweater, but more put together. Her dark hair fell in loose waves around her shoulders, and she wore minimal makeup that highlighted her amber eyes. I hope you don't mind, I ordered for us, she said as he approached. Americano, black. You strike me as a no-nonsense coffee drinker. Jake smiled, impressed. Good guess. Not a guess, she replied with a small smile. You had a thermos in your briefcase yesterday. No cream or sugar packets. Observant, Jake said, taking a seat across from her. Occupational hazard, Eliza replied, then looked as if she regretted the words. So what exactly is your occupation? Jake asked. When you're not giving marketing advice to strangers in the park, that is. Eliza took a sip of her coffee, a latte with an artistic design in the foam. I'm between things at the moment. Taking some time to reassess. Jake nodded, not pushing. I understand. Life transitions can be complicated. What about your proposal? She asked, clearly changing the subject. You said your boss was impressed? Jake couldn't help the proud smile that spread across his face. Very. He especially liked the social currency angle you suggested. Said it showed unexpected insight into the luxury millennial market. When will you know if you got the account? 2 weeks, Jake said. The client wants to see presentations from 3 agencies before deciding. You'll get it, Eliza said with surprising confidence. How can you be so sure? She shrugged. Just a feeling. Your approach is solid. They fell into easy conversation after that. Jake told her about Lily's successful talent show performance, complete with a homemade Elsa costume he'd stayed up until midnight finishing. Eliza shared stories about her travels, Paris, Tokyo, Buenos Aires, speaking about each place with intimate knowledge that suggested she'd spent significant time there. You've lived quite a life for someone so young, Jake commented. I've been fortunate, Eliza said carefully. But sometimes I wonder if I've really lived at all, you know? Seeing places isn't the same as experiencing them. There was something in her tone, a loneliness, a yearning, that resonated with Jake. He recognized it from his own reflection in the mirror on the difficult days after Emma died, when he wondered if he'd ever feel whole again. I think I understand, he said quietly. Their eyes met, and for a moment, something passed between them, recognition, perhaps, of kindred spirits. The moment was broken by Jake's phone alarm. Sorry, he said, silencing it. School pickup in 30 minutes. Of course, Eliza said. You should go. Jake hesitated. This was nice. Maybe we could do it again sometime? Eliza seemed to consider this carefully before nodding. I'd like that. As Jake stood to leave, he found himself asking impulsively, actually, Lily and I are going to the Natural History Museum this Saturday. She's obsessed with dinosaurs right now. Would you like to join us? The invitation seemed to surprise both of them. Jake hadn't planned it, and from Eliza's expression, she hadn't expected it either. I don't want to intrude on your time with your daughter, she said hesitantly. You wouldn't be, Jake assured her. Lily loves meeting new people, and honestly, after the 50th time explaining why T-Rex had such small arms, I could use some adult conversation. A smile slowly spread across Eliza's face. In that case, I'd love to. I happen to know quite a bit about dinosaurs. Why am I not surprised? Jake laughed. We're meeting at the main entrance at 10 a.m. I'll be there, Eliza promised. As Jake hurried to pick up Lily, he found himself smiling. There was something about Eliza that intrigued him, her intelligence, her mysterious background, the sadness that sometimes shadowed her eyes. For the first time since Emma died, he felt a spark of interest in someone new, and it both excited and terrified him. What Jake didn't know was that across town, in a luxurious penthouse office overlooking the city, Richard Montgomery was slamming his fist on his desk as his private investigator delivered the news. We've found her, sir. Your daughter has been living in an apartment in the Arts District under the name Eliza Smith. She's been seen with this man. The investigator slid a photo across the desk, a long-range shot of Jake and Eliza sitting on the park bench, sharing a sandwich. Richard Montgomery's cold eyes narrowed as he studied the image. Find out everything about him. Everything. Saturday morning dawned bright and clear. Jake helped Lily into her favorite dinosaur t-shirt, which she insisted on wearing despite the slight chill in the air. Is your friend nice, Daddy? Lily asked as they walked toward the museum, her small hand firmly in his. Yes, sweetheart, she's very nice, Jake replied. And she knows a lot about dinosaurs. More than you? Lily asked skeptically. Jake laughed. Probably. I only know what I've learned from your books. Does she like peanut butter sandwiches too? She seemed to, Jake said, smiling at the memory. Is she going to be your girlfriend? Lily asked with the directness only an 8-year-old could manage. Jake nearly stumbled. No, honey. She's just a friend. We're just getting to know each other. Lily considered this. Mommy would want you to have friends. She told me to take care of you, remember? Jake's heart clenched. In her final days, Emma had indeed had a private conversation with Lily, one that his daughter referenced occasionally. According to Lily, Mommy had given her a special job to make sure Daddy smiled every day. I remember, Jake said softly. And you do an amazing job taking care of me. They reached the museum entrance right at 10 a.m. Eliza was already waiting, dressed casually in jeans, a green sweater, and a light jacket. She'd pulled her hair back in a simple ponytail and wore minimal makeup. Jake was struck by how natural she looked, beautiful without trying to be. Hi, she said, smiling nervously. Then she knelt down to Lily's level. You must be Lily. I'm Eliza. Your dad tells me you're an expert on dinosaurs. Lily, usually shy with strangers, beamed. I know all about T-Rex. Did you know their arms were so small because they didn't need them? Their heads did all the work. That's absolutely right, Eliza said seriously. Their powerful jaws were their main weapon. But did you know that scientists think T-Rex might have been able to run as fast as 12 miles per hour? That's faster than most humans can run. Lily's eyes widened. Really? Daddy, did you know that? I did not, Jake admitted, impressed. Can we go see the T-Rex first? Lily asked, already tugging on Jake's hand. Lead the way, paleontologist Lily, Eliza said with a smile. What followed was one of the most enjoyable mornings Jake had experienced in years. Lily, normally exhausted after an hour in the museum, was energized by Eliza's presence. Eliza seemed to know not just facts about dinosaurs, but how to present them in a way that captivated an 8-year-old's imagination. She asked Lily questions, listened intently to her answers, and treated her theories with respect. How do you know so much about dinosaurs? Jake asked quietly while Lily was pressed against a display case, examining a fossil. I wanted to be a paleontologist when I was her age, Eliza admitted. I read every book I could find. Even went on a dig in Montana when I was 16. What happened to that dream? A shadow crossed Eliza's face. Life. Family expectations. The usual story. Before Jake could ask more, Lily was tugging on Eliza's hand. Can you read what this says? The words are too big. As the morning progressed, Jake noticed something changing in Eliza. The guarded expression she usually wore was softening. She laughed more freely, gestured more expressively, and seemed to forget whatever burdens she normally carried. By the time they reached the museum café for lunch, Lily was holding Eliza's hand as naturally as if she'd known her for years. Daddy makes the best peanut butter sandwiches, Lily informed Eliza as they sat down with their café trays. I can confirm that, Eliza said with a smile. He shared one with me the other day. He shares with me too, Lily said proudly. Daddy says sharing is how we show love. Jake felt his cheeks warm. Well, I wouldn't go that far about a sandwich with a stranger. But you're not strangers anymore, Lily pointed out with impeccable 8-year-old logic. You're friends now. Yes, Eliza said softly, meeting Jake's eyes. I suppose we are. After lunch, they explored the rest of the museum. By the time they reached the gift shop, Lily was dragging her feet, the excitement of the day finally catching up with her. Just one small thing, Jake told her as she gazed longingly at the array of dinosaur merchandise. While Lily deliberated between a Stegosaurus keychain and a pack of dinosaur stickers, Jake noticed Eliza discreetly speaking with a cashier. Money changed hands, but he couldn't see what she purchased. Outside the museum, as they prepared to say goodbye, Eliza knelt down to Lily's level again. I got something for you, she said, pulling a small package from her pocket. To thank you for letting me join your dinosaur adventure today. Lily unwrapped it eagerly to find a beautiful book, The Complete Guide to Dinosaurs, with stunning illustrations and a hardcover binding. Wow! Lily breathed, flipping through the pages. Thank you, Miss Eliza. You didn't have to do that, Jake said quietly. I wanted to, Eliza replied. It's the book I had when I was her age. I've never met another girl so passionate about paleontology. As Lily showed Jake a particularly impressive illustration of a velociraptor, Jake noticed Eliza checking her phone, her expression suddenly tense. Everything okay? He asked. Just work, well, family stuff, she said vaguely. I should go. Thank you both for a wonderful day. Can Miss Eliza come to my birthday party next month? Lily asked suddenly. It's dinosaur-themed. Eliza looked genuinely touched. I'd love that, if it's okay with your dad. Of course, Jake said. I'll text you the details. As they watched Eliza walk away, Lily looked up at her father with serious eyes. I like her, Daddy. She doesn't talk to me like I'm a baby. No, she doesn't, Jake agreed, thinking that was exactly what had impressed him too. What neither of them saw was the black luxury sedan that pulled away from the curb as Eliza rounded the corner, or the man in the back seat who watched her through tinted windows, his expression unreadable. Over the next few weeks, Eliza became a regular presence in Jake and Lily's lives. She joined them for pizza and movie night, helped Lily with a school project about ecosystems, and even attended Lily's soccer game, cheering louder than anyone when Lily scored her first goal. For Jake, these weeks were filled with a growing sense of possibility. There was something about Eliza that felt right, the way she fit so naturally into their lives, her genuine interest in Lily, the easy conversations that often stretched late into the evening after Lily had gone to bed. But there were still mysteries. Eliza never invited them to her apartment. She was vague about her past and her family. Sometimes she would cancel plans at the last minute with apologetic but cryptic explanations. And occasionally, Jake would catch her looking over her shoulder, as if expecting someone to be watching. The breakthrough in their relationship came unexpectedly, 3 days before Lily's birthday. Jake had been working late on a new proposal. The Meridian Hotel's account had indeed gone to Wellington Marketing, earning Jake his promotion, but with it came new responsibilities. He was just packing up when his phone rang. Mr. Reynolds? This is Westside Elementary. Lily's running a fever, and we can't reach your emergency contact. Jake's heart sank. His emergency contact was his neighbor, Mrs. Patel, who must still be at her daughter's house in Connecticut. I'll be there in 20 minutes, he promised, already calculating the fastest route across town during rush hour. As he hurried out of the building, he impulsively called Eliza. Jake? Everything okay? She answered immediately. Not really. Lily's sick at school, and I'm across town in traffic. I hate to ask, but... Text me the school address, Eliza interrupted. I'm only 10 minutes away. I'll get her and bring her home. Do you have a key hidden somewhere? Under the turtle statue by the front door, Jake said, relief washing over him. Thank you, Eliza. I'll get there as soon as I can. When Jake finally made it home an hour later, he found Lily on the couch, wrapped in blankets, watching a nature documentary. Eliza sat beside her, gently stroking her hair. "Daddy," Lily said weakly. "Miss Eliza made me soup and gave me medicine. My throat hurts." "Looks like strep," Eliza said quietly to Jake. "I called Dr. Chen, I hope you don't mind, I found her card on your fridge. She called in a prescription to the pharmacy on the corner. I picked it up while Lily was napping." Jake stared at her, overwhelmed with gratitude. "I don't know what to say." "You don't need to say anything," Eliza replied simply. "I'm just glad I could help." Later, after Lily had fallen asleep and Jake had carried her to bed, he returned to the living room to find Eliza washing dishes in the kitchen. "You don't have to do that," he said, taking a towel to dry the bowl she just rinsed. "I don't mind," she said. "It's nice, actually. Feels normal." There was something in her voice that made Jake look at her more closely. "Is normal something you don't get much of?" Eliza was quiet for a long moment, her hands still in the soapy water. "No," she finally said. "Not for a long time." Jake set down the towel and gently turned her to face him. "Eliza, I don't know what you're running from or hiding from. And you don't have to tell me if you don't want to. But I want you to know that you're safe here. With us." Her eyes met his, vulnerable in a way he'd never seen before. "Jake, there are things about me, about my life, that would complicate things." "Life is complicated," he said simply. "That doesn't scare me." Slowly, hesitantly, Eliza leaned forward and kissed him. It was gentle, questioning, and over almost before it began. But it changed everything. "I should go," she whispered. "Stay," Jake said. "Not for. I mean, just stay. The guest room is made up. It's late, and you've had a long day taking care of Lily. Stay." After a moment's hesitation, Eliza nodded. "Okay." That night, as Jake lay in bed listening to the occasional cough from Lily's room, he felt something he hadn't experienced in years, the sense that his home was full again, complete in a way it hadn't been since Emma died. It both exhilarated and terrified him. What he didn't know was that in the guest room, Eliza was making a decision that would change all their lives. She sat on the edge of the bed, her phone in her hand, staring at a text message from an unknown number. "Your father knows where you are. He's moving tomorrow. Last chance to come home voluntarily." With trembling fingers, she typed her reply, "Tell him I'm done running. But this ends on my terms, not his." Lily's birthday party was scheduled for Saturday afternoon at the local park. Despite still recovering from strep throat, she was determined not to postpone her dinosaur-themed celebration. Jake had spent the morning setting up decorations and laying out food on the picnic tables while Lily supervised, pointing out exactly where each dinosaur plate and cup should go. "Is Miss Eliza coming soon?" Lily asked for the third time, scanning the park entrance. She promised she would, Jake assured her, though he was beginning to worry himself. Eliza hadn't responded to his text that morning. Just as Lily's friends began to arrive, Jake's phone rang with an unknown number. "Jake Reynolds," a formal male voice asked. "Yes, who's this?" "My name is Thomas Whitfield. I'm calling on behalf of Richard Montgomery regarding Elizabeth Montgomery." Jake frowned in confusion. "I think you have the wrong number." "No, Mr. Reynolds. I believe you know her as Eliza Smith." Jake's blood ran cold. "What is this about?" "Mr. Montgomery would like to meet with you. A car is waiting at the north entrance of the park. It's regarding Elizabeth's safety and well-being." "I'm in the middle of my daughter's birthday party," Jake said, watching as Lily showed her friends the dinosaur footprints he'd made leading to the picnic area. "Mr. Montgomery understands the inconvenience, but this matter is urgent. It concerns your daughter's safety as well." At the mention of Lily, Jake's protective instincts flared. 10 minutes. That's all you get. He quickly asked another parent to watch the children and walked to the north entrance, where a sleek black car with tinted windows waited. The driver opened the door without a word. Inside sat an older man with steel-gray hair and piercing eyes that immediately reminded Jake of Eliza. He wore an impeccably tailored suit that probably cost more than Jake's monthly salary. "Mr. Reynolds," the man said, extending his hand. "Richard Montgomery. Thank you for meeting me." Jake didn't take the offered hand. "You mentioned my daughter's safety. Explain." Montgomery's expression hardened slightly at the rebuff. "Direct. I appreciate that. Very well. My daughter, Elizabeth, has been living under an assumed identity for the past 6 months. During that time, she has been unstable. Emotionally fragile. Her doctors are concerned about her mental state." "Eliza seems perfectly stable to me," Jake said coldly. "Elizabeth has always been good at presenting a facade," Montgomery replied. "But I assure you, she is not well. She left a treatment facility against medical advice after suffering a breakdown following her mother's death." Jake hesitated, remembering Eliza's occasional distant moods and her reluctance to discuss her past. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because she's become attached to you and your daughter," Montgomery said. "And while I'm sure you're good people, Elizabeth needs professional help, not distractions. For her sake, and for your daughter's, I'm asking you to step back." "And if I don't?" Montgomery's expression didn't change, but his voice cooled several degrees. "Mr. Reynolds, I'm a powerful man with significant resources. I could make your life very difficult. Your recent promotion, your mortgage, your daughter's education, all of these things are precarious. Are you threatening me?" Jake asked incredulously. "I'm explaining reality," Montgomery replied. "Elizabeth is heir to a multi-billion-dollar corporation. She has responsibilities she cannot escape by playing house with a marketing executive and his daughter." Jake felt anger rising in his chest. "Eliza is an adult. She makes her own choices." "Not when she's unwell," Montgomery countered. "I have legal documentation of her condition. Would you like to see it?" He opened a folder and slid several official-looking documents toward Jake. Medical reports with diagnoses of severe depression, anxiety, and possible borderline personality disorder. Court papers granting Richard Montgomery temporary guardianship during Elizabeth's period of incapacity. Jake stared at the papers, doubt creeping in despite himself. Could he have misread Eliza so completely? "She's coming home today," Montgomery said with finality. "I've sent people to her apartment. I'm telling you this as a courtesy, and because I believe you care for her. Don't make this harder than it needs to be." Before Jake could respond, his phone buzzed with a text. It was from Eliza. "I'm so sorry I'm late. Something came up. On my way now. Save me some cake." Jake looked up from his phone to find Montgomery watching him with calculating eyes. "She's on her way to the party," Jake said. "Then we have a problem," Montgomery replied. "Because Elizabeth in her current state is unpredictable. Are you willing to risk your daughter's safety on your assessment of a woman you've known for less than a month?" The question hit Jake like a physical blow. Was he being selfish? Putting his attraction to Eliza above Lily's well-being? "I need to get back to my daughter's party," Jake said, reaching for the door handle. "Of course," Montgomery said smoothly. "But consider what I've said. For everyone's sake." As Jake walked back to the party, his mind was in turmoil. The documents had seemed legitimate, but something about the encounter felt wrong. Montgomery's concern had seemed more about control than care. When he reached the picnic area, he saw her immediately. Eliza was helping Lily open a present, both of them laughing at whatever was inside. She looked up and waved when she spotted him, her smile faltering slightly at his expression. "Everything okay?" she asked when he reached them. "We need to talk," he said quietly. "But later. This is Lily's day." Eliza nodded, though concern lingered in her eyes. "Later," she agreed. The party continued, with Eliza seamlessly helping to organize games and serve cake. Jake watched her interact with Lily and her friends, patient, kind, engaged. Nothing about her behavior suggested instability or danger. As the party wound down and parents began collecting their children, Jake noticed a group of men in dark suits at the park's perimeter. One spoke into his wrist, his eyes fixed on Eliza. "Eliza," Jake said urgently, moving to her side. "Those men, do you know them?" She followed his gaze, her face draining of color. "He found me," she whispered. "I knew he would eventually, but I thought I had more time." "Your father?" Jake asked. "He was here. He showed me documents, medical reports, court orders. He says you're unwell, that you need help." Eliza's eyes flashed with anger. "And you believed him?" "I don't know what to believe," Jake admitted. "I just met you. He's your father." The papers looked real. "They probably are real," Eliza said bitterly. "My father has enough money to make anything look real. Including a daughter's mental illness." "What's going on?" Lily asked, approaching them with concern on her small face. "Why do you look sad on my birthday?" Eliza knelt down to Lily's level. "I'm not sad, sweetheart. I'm just having a grown-up conversation with your dad." "About the scary men watching us?" Lily asked perceptively. Jake and Eliza exchanged alarmed glances. "Lily, go wait by our picnic table," Jake said firmly. "Now, please." Once Lily was out of earshot, Jake turned back to Eliza. "I need the truth. All of it. Right now." Eliza took a deep breath. "My real name is Elizabeth Sinclair Montgomery. My father is Richard Montgomery, CEO of Montgomery International Hotels. 6 months ago, I discovered he was involved in some questionable business practices. Labor exploitation, environmental violations, possible bribery of foreign officials. When I confronted him and threatened to go public, he had me committed to a private mental health facility, claiming I was having delusions." "Were you?" Jake asked bluntly. "No," Eliza said firmly. "I had evidence, documents, recordings. But they disappeared while I was institutionalized. After 3 weeks, I managed to leave and went into hiding. I've been gathering new evidence ever since."